Davenport Coaches Show from Uccello's in Caledonia. I'm Rick Berkey in a special edition of the Davenport Coaches Show tonight here at Uccello's. We'll call it Meet the Staff Night as Sparky McEwen has sent his top assistants here, get a chance to learn a little bit more about them. They do so much, they put in so much time, work so hard with the players. They're such an instrumental part of Davenport's play on the field. We thought we'd get a chance to learn. Our first guest, Devin Russell. Devin is offensive line coach and also assistant head coach added last year. And you also work with the quarterbacks now also.
Dabble a little bit, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, that's got to be some kind of conflict between what you're doing with the line and with the quarterbacks.
Some days. No, I mean, it's pretty simple. You know, we're back there just trying to coach them up the best we can as a staff, and so we all help anywhere we can.
Dev, I hear offensive line coaches say so often about, meshing, the offensive line meshing. What are the keys to an offensive line meshing?
Yeah, I think, try to get some continuity up there. If you can get the same guys kind of doing the same thing every day, then hopefully that helps with that a little bit. And then, it's a year-round deal where those guys lifting together, training together, up here in the summer doing their lifting and running together, and all that stuff helps where they can kind of develop that bond within that group to help them on Saturdays.
And because the offensive line is taking the hits on a play-by-play basis, they're the most susceptible to injury. And I don't know what you can do about that. It's just the nature of the game, isn't it?
Yeah, that's part of it. Kind of those guys, they're tough guys by nature, as everybody playing at this level is. And it's about just sometimes knowing the difference between hurt and injured, and then, sometimes you can't control it. You
mentioned that there's that fine line between hurt and injured, and what do you tell your guys as far as at one point to try to fight through it, and what point you're going to hurt the team by going back out there?
No, the nice thing is that we got a medical staff for that, so I don't have to put my doctor hat on or anything like that. That sport management degree isn't the best for that area of expertise, so we let the medical people handle that, and then they tell me, hey, he can go, or hey, he can't go.
Devin, you were OC and also offensive line coach at Ohio Northern University before you came here. Made a couple runs in the playoffs, actually, with Ohio Northern. What did you take from that to make that step up to Division II then in Davenport?
I think it was just experience. I was at Ohio Northern for a long time. I started out as the O-line coach, and then once I started coordinating there, it was just getting used to kind of paying attention to all 11 guys out there and developing a philosophy and a thought process and a procedure. So I was able to take those things there or those things here, and then plug that into, putting our players in the best situation to be successful.
Tell us, Devin, about your involvement on the recruiting side of it. How much time, again, with all the time between practices and watching film and going over things with the fellow coaches and players, there can't be a lot of time during the season, is there?
We got to make time, because I've learned that, the better players we have, the better I am at calling plays. So, no, we do a lot of stuff, obviously, in the summer and the spring. And then right now is about staying in contact with those guys, getting out, seeing their games when we can. It's been a unique beginning of the season for us with 3 long road trips. So it was nice last week to get out and see some high school games in the local area. And now, we're on the road this week, but next week we come home and we can get those guys out to check out a game and continue that relationship.
You mentioned the play calling. Now, again, quite often you're up top calling the plays. Some coaches actually like to be down closer to it on the field. Tell us about your thoughts on what's the advantage or disadvantage of each, being on the field or up in the box calling the plays.
Yeah, I think I've been down on the field here and up in the box. I think up in the box is a little easier for me personally. I think it's a lot of just personal opinion of coaches' staffs. For me it's a little easier because I'm a little bit emotional sometimes, so that can keep me calm, see all 11 a little bit better, and then we have great assistant coaches on the field, so I know that message from the box down to the field can get communicated, and Coach Spark runs a tight ship down there, so it's been good.
Let's talk about what you can do as OC when you're in a 2-minute drill, whether it's the end of the half or the end of the fourth quarter. Because so much falls on your quarterback at that point, right?
Yeah. Those are just menus that all those clock situations and end of game situations, end of half situations. Those are all menus that. I think the best thing we can do from a coaching standpoint is practice those a lot, so those guys, when they're in that situation and it's loud and it's tight and the pressure's up, they're running things that they have been running for months, from the spring ball to fall camp to the season. So just trying to keep that menu simple for those guys.
You mentioned that in your time here and even back at Ohio Northern, did you have some players that you could see it clicked with that 2-minute offense definitely better than others, and that you think we got to change the menu for that one because he's not going to react as quick?
Yeah. No, you got to kind of, it's always about building it around the players, players, formation, plays in that order. So it doesn't matter if you have the greatest play in the world on a whiteboard. If it's not best for the guys on the field, then it's not a good play.
Assess the team's play right now. Certainly you'd love to have wins in all three, a narrow, heartbreaking loss in overtime. But from your perspective, how do you appraise this team at this point?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of potential. We're getting closer to reaching that. But right now we're really focused on kind of a day-by-day process. I know it's kind of coach speak, but we want to be better tomorrow than we were today and on Thursday and roll that into Saturday.
You and your wife, Dan, have 2 daughters. How do you balance that very delicate area of work and fatherhood and husbandhood?
Yeah. My wife drives the ship. She does a great job with kind of managing right now. They're in all the sports. Wayland seventh grade volleyball. If you're not up to date on that, we're undefeated right now. So
there you got that. We got it right here. You won't hear that any other show.
So we're rolling. And what's nice is Coach Spark definitely lets us put our family first, so we can get out and go catch a game and then come back later or do some stuff from home. So that's been a real joy of working here.
So you live in the Wayland district?
Yeah.
Tell us about how you like living in Wayland, which is if you're not familiar with those of you watching from out of the town area, it's about 8-10 miles from here?
Yeah, it's about a 20-minute drive.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's a nice area. We got about an acre of land down there, so I got my little riding lawnmower and everything, so we're rolling.
Great. Okay. All right. Where's this offensive line have to get better? What area of improvement is needed the most right now with your OL?
I think just consistency in our technique. I don't think it's really about the opponent at this point for us. It's about making sure that if we're executing this footwork, we're doing it 100% of the time.
Devin Russell, offensive line coach, also assistant head coach, offensive coordinator. Thanks for stopping by. Keep up the good work. We look forward for more good things from the offense down the road.
All right, thank you.
All right, we'll take a break, come back with another of the top assistants. Stay with us. We'll continue on with the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccello's in Caledonia. Roll on with our special edition of the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccello's in Caledonia. You got to stop out and check it out. If you haven't been here before, it's a fantastic place to go. One of the very top sports bar in all of West Michigan, Uccello's. They have tremendous food, great atmosphere. You can hear the hum here. They've got all kinds of activities as we record this tonight on DU Panthers YouTube channel. They've got baseball all up there. They've got football games going, highlights, and all kinds of sports shows, multiple huge screens all around. Great place for your evening, no matter what it is. A.J. McEwen is here with us right now. We told you Sparky would be gone. That doesn't mean Coach McEwen's not going to be here tonight. A.J. McEwen has been part of the coaching staff at Davenport from the get-go. Defensive coordinator. 5 years prior, the defense was ranked, prior to 24, ranked in the top 4 in total yards allowed per game. You've had quite success with the Davenport defense. What's the key to getting your D on the same page? Guys are all playing together.
Well, the biggest thing is, not only myself, but obviously the coaching staff too as well. Coach Walker, he's been here with me since the beginning, and having that continuity is huge for us. And on top of that, it comes down to recruiting and having good players.
You mentioned with the contact with the other coaches. What is the key to coaches getting along? Because a lot of folks don't think about that. That's important that the coaches are all going in the same direction, right?
Yep, absolutely. It's just building relationships. Building relationships is just like anything in life. You got to have communication amongst each other and make sure you're on the same page. And at the end of the day, it's about the players and not about the coaches.
How are you a better coach than when you started here at Davenport? Right now, how are you better?
Experience, learning from mistakes, good and bad. Over the 9-10 years I've been doing it, and just always continuing to be hungry to learn.
You had a terrific college career as an athlete at Ferris State, all GLIAC honors with that as well. In fact, you led the GLIAC in interceptions and pass breakups as a junior and before. You went on and played a little arena professional ball. How many years of arena ball did you play?
I only actually did 1 year. I had an opportunity actually to keep playing, but this opportunity came, when Coach Esposito was here, and I took that opportunity right away. Because finishing up playing ball, I always knew I wanted to be a coach. And as soon as that opportunity came, I knew I had to, take advantage.
What did you learn from Coach Espo?
Well, he taught me everything I knew, from a defensive standpoint. And I played for him, too, as well. That year I led the conference in picks at Ferris State.
At Ferris. Yes. Espo was there. Forgot he was there. Yeah.
Yes, he was my defensive coordinator. So we maintained a good relationship and still do to this day. So, I learned everything from him from the beginning, and Coach Walker, too, as well.
Now, it's got to be exciting for you to see him go on in Division I and now at Michigan doing very, very well. Let's talk a little bit about the defense of this year's team. What do you assess? How do you assess their play so far to this point?
We've been growing. That's the biggest thing I could say. We've been growing. Obviously, last year we had a lot of vets, a lot of good players that we lost and had to replace, and that's always tough, especially early on. But I think they've been doing a good job learning from mistakes from early on. And, obviously we still have a long way to go, but I think we're headed in the right direction.
You, of course, with all the coaching staff involved in the recruiting process, what has changed as far as the perception of Davenport by high school athletes out there from, when we first started playing football? You've been here from the beginning.
Right.
How has it changed the perception of Davenport football from when you very first started to recruit kids?
It's changed a lot. Honestly, it's a lot easier than it was, at the beginning when nobody knew who Davenport was. When you would hear Davenport, people would bring up Davenport, Iowa. They didn't even know where Davenport was. So it's come a long way, obviously, with us winning the last, several years. Now you got guys, reaching out to us wanting to be here versus before we really had to chase guys a little bit more.
AJ, you and the entire staff had a major challenge a couple weeks ago or last week when the game that you thought was going to be your home opener was canceled by Lincoln from California. What did you tell your defensive players, and what was the immediate reaction, and how did you try to get them back settled down? Because I know they were upset.
Well, we didn't know what was going on initially, so we actually were still preparing for the game as if it was still going on. And as soon as we got the call that it was canceled, honestly, the conversation took 5-10 minutes max, and then it was just on to the next. It was about getting ready for the bye week, and just again improving, fixing mistakes that we made in prior weeks, and just getting ready for Grand Valley.
How good can this team be this year, AJ?
I think the sky is the limit. We know we have a long way to go still, but I like the guys that we have. We just got to continue to grow together. That's the word I'm gonna keep using, is growing, and that's what's needed with us losing a lot of players from last year. But I think we're headed in the right direction.
You got your master's degree in management from Davenport. How important is it to you to have that master's? Extremely important.
I knew right away when I got into coaching as a graduate assistant, that was the number one thing I wanted was my grad degree. Got that done. So it was super important, not only for me, but for my family as well. I know that's something they really wanted me to to achieve, and I obviously was able to do that and get that degree at a great university.
A.J. McEwen, our guest here on the Davenport Coaches Show. A.J., you're connected with a lot of the high school coaches in the area. Does it happen very often, or does it happen at all, that high school coaches come to you and say, hey, I'm thinking about maybe giving a try to college coaching from high school? What do you tell them? And if they don't hear from them, what would you tell them if you haven't heard from coaches about that?
You do get it. I'm not going to say a lot, but you do get it every year. It'll be a couple guys, but it has to be something you really love to do, obviously, because it's very, very time consuming. You don't have as much time as normally you would maybe at the high school level to spend with your family. You're on the road a lot more, so I always tell those guys, football is football. No matter what level you're coaching at, it's just a time thing is the biggest difference, and obviously the age of the kids.
What do you do with your free time? Not during the season, because there isn't any free time during the season, but off season you get a little bit of free time. What do you do for your own enjoyment?
The biggest thing I do, a lot of people don't know, is I'm a gamer in the off season.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm a huge gamer. Absolutely. My players never believe it. They feel I'm this old guy, but they don't understand that I'm a big time gamer. Call of Duty, 2K, college football, but I'm huge in the game.
There's only one way to really shut them up, isn't it?
Only one way, and you can ask a couple of those guys how that worked out for them.
We will do that on the show. A.J. McEwen, thanks for stopping by. Go enjoy some of that great Uccello's food, okay?
Appreciate it.
I will take a break, come back with more of our special edition of the Davenport Coaches Show from Uccello's in Caledonia. And we continue with the Davenport Coaches Show. Uccello's in Caledonia, the site here. And, of course, Davenport plays this Saturday. Their next game, it would turn out to be yet another road game after the cancellation of that home game we just talked about with A.J. about. But 4 o'clock at Grand Valley State. If you want to hear our audio broadcast, our audio feed, go to the DU Panthers football schedule. You click on the little speaker microphone, and you can hear our broadcast from Allendale. Davenport will be on a little before 4 o'clock. Now, if you go to the video, you watch the video, you will get their announcers. Not that they don't do a good job, but if you want to hear our announcing call, you got to go to the schedule and hit on the speaker to hear the DU Panthers game. Our next guest, Lavelle Walker, and he's also another original member of the coaching staff when Coach Espo was here. Let's go back to that time, Lavelle, as we welcome you here to the show. When Coach Espo first contacted you about going to work for Davenport, what did you know about Davenport at that time, and what was it like?
I didn't know anything. I didn't even know Davenport existed.
Really?
I was actually just graduated with my bachelor's, and I was doing a few things in around the state of Michigan with high school kids as far as like training and helping out with different camps around the state. And I met Coach Espo and Coach one of the defensive coordinators there at a camp I was running, and we got to know each other. And I got the call a week before camp, and was like, "Hey, we still have this G8 position open. Do you want to take it?" And I'm coaching high school ball at my alma mater,
in Lansing.
Yeah, Lansing Everett at the time, and I'm like, college ball? Why not? So I just took a leap of faith, man, and got down here, found one of my college roommates that was still in the area, that lived in Grand Rapids, and I stayed with him for a couple months.
Needed a couch, right?
Yeah, found a couch, man, and we made it work, man.
So let's go back to those times, because people forget now Davenport's up and running and operating efficiently, but back at the beginning, it was quite different. I mean, you didn't have a lot of the things that you have now in terms of facilities and equipment. What were some of the hardships you faced when you first started out?
When we first got here, 2015, we had probably had about 140, 150 kids. There was no Farmers Insurance Complex. We used to do our lifts at the SAC. Those guys used to get dressed in trailers outside the SAC. So I've seen this thing. Me and Coach AJ seen this thing come from nothing to something. You know.
So how do you rate the facilities now that you've got at Davenport compared to other D2 schools?
Oh, best of the best for sure. Just as far as like the resources and the amenities that we have in the facility and around the facility that we have at our hands that we can use.
Of course, he was a 4-year starter in high school at Lansing Everett before he went on to college. But Lansing Everett's known for some other athlete. I've forgotten who would that be?
Magic Johnson.
Yeah, Magic Johnson. That's who. I knew it was somebody small.
Yeah.
But did you have any encounters at all, even though it was long ago, with the Magic Man at Everett?
I didn't have any encounters with him, but he was a close friend to my family. I know my aunt went to school in the Lansing area, and they were pretty close, and he was pretty close with my grandmother too.
You played for 3 years at Grand Valley, and then went to Central Michigan, made the jump up to Division I.
Yeah.
Talk about that jump in that 1 year from D2 to D1.
Playing D1 ball is something I always wanted to do. I don't call it a regret, but one of the things that if I could change out of coming up and making that decision out of high school is I would have went the D1 route the first time straight out of high school, having that opportunity to go play at the University of Michigan. But being young, not having a lot of guidance, I took a different route. Went to Grand Valley, was there from 2009 to 2011, and then took a year off and went to Michigan State back home, and then went to Central Michigan and played ball there.
You got to a national championship game at Grand Valley.
Freshman year.
Your freshman year.
Yeah.
So what?
Freshman year.
How does that carry over as far as having being able to experience that as a player now as a coach?
You take those experience from being a player into the coaching world now. So being in that moment, that practicing the year round, trying to get to the national championship and finally get there. From a coach's perspective, you know what it takes, and you know how to bring the kids along, the student athletes along, and how to talk to them in the sense of, hey, this is what needs to happen. This is what you need to do to get to the place you all want to get to.
You focus on the linebackers and special teams coordinator now. In your last game up in Northern Michigan, special teams was really the story of the game because you had struggled with it originally, but then in the end, you got the block punt for a touchdown that turned the game all around.
Struggle ain't the word.
It was being nice about it, right?
Yeah, that's a nice word, man. I don't know. It was just I want to say it's the first time being a part of that type of game on specials. Like, we got a young player who made a young mistake that we went over throughout the week on practice, and then you have a bad field goal snap, which we've had Joe Seidel. Those things really don't happen here.
Joe Seidel, the Sultan of snap. He was just so automatic for you, wasn't he?
100%. So, and then you got one of the older guys that's a leader and a captain on the team, and a ball hits him on punt and ricochets off. It was just a wild game, But within being in that game, you got to know how to adjust and how to get to your players and get them back on the right track,
And you could see the celebration when you did get the block punt and the touchdown by Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
That was just, they just mobbed him, and the special teams was just so ecstatic.
Yeah.
That carried over to the team. You could see that.
100%. It's a big momentum change.
What about this team overall right now? Let's go back to you mentioned the special teams. What about your linebackers? How do you feel about your linebacker play so far?
The linebacker play's been solid, man. The good thing about that room is you bring back 3 guys that with Nick Pulley, Jamar Mills, and Latrell Scott, who've all played a lot of snaps here at DU. You know what I'm saying? Jamar's been playing since his redshirt freshman year, so is Latrell and Nick. You know, so they've all been around me. They've all been in the scheme, so they know exactly what we want, how we want it done, and they're your generals in there. Without
going into individual, as a group, is this the strongest linebacker group you've had when you take all 3 together and the backups, or
they got the strongest group?
Yeah,
I don't know. We've had some good linebacker cores here, so let me answer that question when the season's over.
Okay, all right. But they're trending in the right direction.
They're definitely trending in the right direction for sure.
What do you get out of coaching on a personal level besides wins and losses? What do you get out of it, Lavelle?
Giving back.
Okay.
Giving back. So all my experiences and things that I've been through, not just with the game of football, but in life, just being able to give back to the student athletes and be more than just a coach to those guys. Whether it's a father figure, a mentor, sometimes even the team therapist. So. Just being able to give back to those guys and, let them know that, yes, I am your coach, but I'm more than your coach, creating lifelong relationships.
And I'll ask you finally, Lavelle, one thing I asked one of your predecessors on the show tonight. How are you a better coach today than you were 8-9 years ago when you started in college coaching?
Just the different experiences that I've encountered being here a decade. The different coaches that I've learned from here at Davenport and outside of Davenport, just being a sponge to the game, just always learning and taking what I can take from other people around me. I'm a big believer in if you want to get somewhere you've never been, you got to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, that are places you want to be.
All right, great job. Great having you here, Lavelle. As always, we want to thank our special guests on this Meet the Staff night here in our DU Coaches Show. Devin Russell, of course, A.J. McEwen, and Lavelle Walker. Don't forget, Davenport plays at Grand Valley State this Saturday. It's a strange 4 o'clock kickoff for GVSU. We'll be on the air with the audio broadcast on DUPanthers.com a little before 4 o'clock, so join us for that one. That'll wrap it up here tonight from Utelas of Caledonia. So one more final time, Rick Berge saying thanks for joining us, and go Panthers.
Go Panthers.